Whilst we've just witnessed the inaugural Dubai Tour, the neighbouring Tour of Qatar is well established on the early season calendar, and 2014 will be the 13th edition of the race. Qatar is characterised by flat, straight, open roads, and when the wind blows, it cuts through the peloton like a knife. Stage 1 of this year's race took the riders 135 kilometres from Al Wakra to Dukhan Beach. With crosswinds from the start, it was a nervous bunch even before the flag dropped, and it wasn't long before a small group found themselves at the front of the race. BMC were prominent with Gilbert and Van Avermaet amongst others, whilst Greipel, Breschel, Bohm, Cancellara and Boonen were some of the other big names contained within that 22-man group. However, as they turned into a headwind, a number of the groups came back together, and by the time the live television coverage started at 30 k's to go, we had 5 men up the road with a group of around 60 chasing behind. Those 5 men were Terpstra and Van Kiersbroek of Omega Pharma Quickstep, Roylance of Lotto Belisol, Elmiger of IAM Cycling and Shah of BMC. This left the responsibility of chasing to the likes of Tinkoff Saxo, Belkin, Team Sky and Orica. With their lead constantly hovering around 25 seconds, their chances of staying away looked ever greater as they approached the finish line, and as they passed through the 1k to go barrier, it became obvious that the win would come from the 5 at the front. Elmiger was the first to make his move, attacking with around 700 metres to go. However, Terpstra was quick to react, jumping onto Elmiger's wheel, then going around him with 200 metres to go and doing enough to hold on for the win. Roylance came through to take second place on the day, with the Swiss duo of Shah and Elmiger taking 3rd and 4th respectively. With Terpstra having also picked up 6 seconds of bonuses at the intermediate sprints, he held a healthy 9-second lead in the overall standings. Whilst the hardest part of the stage came before the cameras were rolling, the riders' post-stage tweets showed us just how hard the day had been. Stage 2 marked the longest of this year's race, 160.5 kilometres from the camel racetrack, always a photographer's favourite, and finishing in Khor Corniche. Once again, crosswinds played their part, quickly splitting the bunch into a reported 8 groups. It did come back together, but not before a couple of crashes along the way. The decisive moment came with around 60 kilometres to go. Omega Pharma Quickstep forcing a split in the peloton and dragging a group of around 20 riders free. Crucially, they had distanced Michael Shah and Martin Elmiger, who had been sitting in 3rd and 4th place respectively overall. The second group, containing the likes of Andre Greipel and Philippe Gilbert, did their best to chase, but the gap held steady at 30 seconds. One of the pre-race favourites, Lars Bohm, along with teammate Robert Wagner, were the first to test the strength of Omega Pharma. Attacking with 3 k's to go, Bohm took it up alone with 1.5 k's remaining, but with a stiff headwind, it was always going to be hard to hold off the group. The catch was made inside the last kilometre, and Marcel Zeeberg of Lotto Belisol was the first to launch a lead out, with Roylance safely tucked behind him. But they weren't a match for the might of Tom Boonen, who comfortably beat Danish champion Michael Morkov into 2nd place, with Roylance managing to hang on to 3rd. So here are the stage results then, Boonen winning, also up there on the stage, Fenn, Breschel, Stannard and Terpstra, and then perhaps crucially, a 5-second gap to Bohm and the rest. This is how things look overall. Terpstra's advantage reduced to 5 seconds after Roylance picked up bonuses at the intermediate sprints and the finish, with Boonen up to 3rd place. Stage 3 sees the riders face a 10.1 kilometre individual time trial, which could reshape the leaderboard.
A spectacular race of contrast, carbon, lycra and muscle, set against an amazing backdrop of sand, sea, glass and steel. Quite unforgettable.